Wasn't yesterday fantastic? My goodness. The content that we had last night and the speakers that we had last night were obviously incredible. Ashley took so many notes. It was great. I loved it.
That I handed straight to him and said, read this.
And I've been reading it ever since. So that's how we keep our marriage healthy. I just do what she tells me to do. It's fantastic. Hey, but no, we've got so much great stuff still lined up for today. You guys ready for another day?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about how to handle conflict in a healthy way. Just like what was mentioned last night, everybody deals with conflict, right? And if you say you don't, you're lying, right? I know we do. In fact, I was thinking about something that we dealt with last week, which was really silly, but we ended up kind of getting into an argument about it. Do you remember that, honey?
Oh, I remember it. It started out as just a great night with the kids. You know, we were sitting on the couch. Our oldest daughter loves comedy, and so we found a new Jeff Foxworthy thing on TV. So we were watching it, and there was one part where he talked about something that happened between he and his wife. And it went something like this. Honey, I just got a text message and it says, Bob was in a car accident, please pray. And his wife says,
what happened?
I don't know. The text message says, Bob was in an accident, please pray.
Well, who was in the car with him?
I don't know. The text message says, Bob was in an accident, please pray.
Well, where were they when the accident happened?
I don't know. The text message says, Bob was in an accident, please pray.
Well, is he in the hospital?
I don't know. The text message says, Bob was in an accident, please pray.
And so as we were watching this, my husband and my 16-year-old daughter, our 16-year-old daughter they were dying laughing. And our 16-year-old daughter looked at us and said, oh my goodness, that's you too. That is you too. And at first I thought, oh, that's funny. But then I don't know why, but I said, why are you like that?
It switched like that.
I was like, why don't you give me the details? Why would you take that text message and not want the details? I mean, this has literally happened to us where we get a text message like that. He's in the corner praying, and I'm like texting everybody. I'm on social media. Okay, how did this happen? I don't even know how to pray. I need to know how to pray, and he's just praying. And I'm like, why are you like that? Why don't you want the details? And so he kind of bantered back with me, and we kind of ended up in a little bit of a conflict over something so silly.
Thanks, Jeff Foxworthy, wherever you are. I appreciate it. We've sought counseling and we've gotten better.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a scripture in Proverbs that says it's the little foxes sometimes that get the vine. And that was us. Sometimes it's such a small thing and it blows up into something that's so big. And so we're so excited and so honored to have Dr. Les and Leslie Parrott here today to help us with conflict because we need it too. But we just cannot wait to hear from them today on that.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll take a lot of notes and give them to me later, but it should be great. Hey, do us a favor, stand up just for a second. We're going to start off this morning praying, and then we're going to bring up Drs. Les and Leslie to help us get started off this morning. Father, thank you for just another great day. God, your word promises us that where two or more gathered together in your name, you're right here with us. And so we just welcome you here. We thank you, God, that you are in amongst us. We thank you, Father, that you're going to do great things in all of our lives, in all of our relationships, in all of our marriages. God, I thank you that we will all leave completely different in a great way today. Father, we just want to honor you and thank you for putting this together. In Jesus' name, amen. Would you please help us welcome to the stage Drs. Les and Leslie Parrott.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. We always like to know a little bit about who we're speaking to. I want to do this real fast. How many of you are engaged to be married? Stand right back up if you're engaged to be married, would you?
Wow.
Look at these folks.
That's awesome.
Keep standing. Congratulations, you guys. That's fantastic. How about couples, you're not quite engaged, but you're on the edge of commitment?
Got some brave couples.
Fantastic. Anybody single, just hoping to find a date sometime in the next year. Don't want to leave you out. How about like newlyweds? You've been married like less than a year. Stand up if you've been married less than a year.
That's great.
Fantastic.
Look at that.
Keep standing for a second. If you've been married for less than 6 months, keep standing. I know you're doing the math. How about less than 3 months? Less than a month?
Oh my goodness, look at these newbies.
How about, help me. How about less than, you guys look like you're still talking about it. You sure you're married? All right. How about less than 2 weeks?
Oh, look at that.
How long you guys been married? 2 weeks today?
That is clap-worthy.
Should you guys be here?
Oh, that's great.
Been married less than 2 weeks? You said, let's go to that marriage thing they're having at church. Fantastic. Give them another hand. That's incredible. Wow.
Awesome.
How about couples have been married for more than a year? Stand up. It's not a trick question. Awesome. How about, I love how the newlyweds are clapping. Yes, more than a year. That's incredible. How about more than 5 years? Keep standing. More than 10, 15, 20. By the way, I'm talking about being married to the same person consecutively.
Yeah.
25, 30, 35. Sure, you can clap.
Look at these champs. I'm going to clap.
All right, how about, you're looking at me like, just keep going, punk. 40 years of marriage or more. 45. All right, this is a big one. 50 years of marriage or more. Keep standing. $50 years or more, keep standing. Now, I noticed that you weren't standing at all, and then I said 50, and then you stood up. You've just been kind of tired this morning, I guess, right? Yeah. So 50 years of marriage. How long you guys been married? 55? 50? Can anybody beat 55? I don't want to leave anybody out. Anybody more than 55 years?
We have
How long? 55. Is it a tie? Oh, I was going to give a car away.
We should have a
Bummer.
dance-off.
Yeah, we could have a dance-off. You guys up for that? Come on, bring them up. Bring that to me. Man, that's incredible. I wish I could give you a car. I don't have a car. I have a book. I guess I could give you each a book. I have, this would probably change everything for the two of you. It's called Crazy Good Sex. I think it's going to be incredible for you two. See me afterwards. That's great. Well, 33 years for Leslie and me, and
That's right, 33.
yeah.
And as you know, it doesn't matter where you're at on that continuum, every couple in here has a story, right? And we don't know when we say, I do in great faith, what that story will be. For us, a big day was after 14 years of married life, we discovered with great joy we were expecting our first child. That was a happy day. And then we were stunned when that baby came 3 months before his due date, and this little micro preemie entered our lives and really rearranged everything
Weighed a
for us.
pound when he was. Have you ever seen a baby that weighs a pound? You know, when I tell my college students at the university where we teach that we had a baby that weighed a pound, the guys look at each other and go, is that good? I don't know, you know. A pound, way to go, Dr. Parrott, you know. If you don't know, that's small. In fact, my wedding band, at the suggestion of a neonatal nurse, I took it off and slipped, when he was about 3 weeks of age, I
Yeah.
slipped it over his entire hand, clear up to his shoulder to give you some perspective on his size. So he's our little miracle baby, and he proved a lot of doctors wrong, and he's going to college this fall.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
But, by the way, we do have the same name, in case you're confused. I'm Leslie, and she's Leslie,
Yes.
and it's just the way God planned it for us. And it's even more complicated, though, because I'm the third. My dad's name is Leslie. My grandfather's name is Leslie. I'm married to Leslie. I'm Leslie. So when we had our first son, we named him John.
Yeah.
John Leslie. Hey, this is going to be good this morning. We're going
Yes,
to talk
it
a little
is.
bit about conflict, and we
Yep.
all agreed last night nobody's immune to it. We're going to give you a little taste of a bigger event we do called Fight Night,
Right.
and it has 2 rounds, correct?
Yes.
And the first round has to do with why. Why in the world do we fight with the person that we love the most on this planet? Why does that happen?
Yeah, so mystifying, and we start with that why because we know something about the human spirit. Because it's not until you get that aha moment of insight, I get why this happens to us, that you find you're sort of freed up in your spirit to move in a new direction and really leverage that moment.
Right. When you can answer why, it leads to a better how.
Right.
And that's what round 2 is all about, how to fight with the person you love. And we're going to give you some brand new tools, as I mentioned last night, some new things you can put in your toolbox that will literally increase your level of intimacy starting this very day if you put them
Yes.
into practice. So that's the plan. All in favor, say aye. Good deal. Now, one other thing I want to, just housekeeping-wise, every once in a while on our screen up here, there's going to be a little thing that slides out from the lower left, and it'll be distracting if I don't explain it. And it just has to do with this little app that goes with a book that we'll tell you more about before we're done here. But that's what that is. It's a little app that helps you put things into practice. You guys ready for round 1? All right. In fact, let's do this. Just to make sure, and make sure I have sound on my computer if you would for me, because that's going to be coming up. Just to make sure you all have the right attitude, why don't you just turn to your partner as we think about talking about conflict this morning. Just turn to your partner and say these words, "You really need this." Hey, I know it's early on a Saturday morning, but let me kind of just get your wheels turning around on conflict a little bit because we have all kinds of fights.
Yes.
We have good fights. Those are fights that actually bring us closer
Right.
together, and we're going to show you how to leverage those for sure. We have bad fights that just kind of tear at the fabric of our relationship. And then we have dumb fights, don't we? Just dumb
just
fights.
dumb.
Just like, why are we fighting? We had a couple in our office a little while ago. They were fighting over whether or not their cat was fat or not. All right? That's a dumb fight.
Yes.
We had, I'm thinking of the pastor couple that.
over the lights.
Yes, they told us this a little while ago, pastor friends. They were, you know how the last person in bed should flip off the light switch before they get into bed, you know? For whatever reason, neither of them wanted to be the last person to bed. And so they were racing down the hallway to their bedroom and both dived on the bed, and they were both saying the other person was, and they really dug in. Like, for some reason, it was really important to both of them that the other person was the last person. So they went to bed with the lights on.
Yep.
So woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the lights still on. So, but we have, all of us have we've had
Right.
dumb fights, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, recently we had just come home from a trip and you're a little road weary, and I could look at Les and know this was a moment I really could love him. So I had fixed him a really wonderful, nourishing breakfast. Like, I knew it would catch him off guard because he knew how tired I was. So I made him, healthy, homemade steel cut oats, all kinds of fruits, served it on this beautiful platter with cream. And as I served it to him, he just responded with amazement, like he loved it.
Did not see that coming.
No.
She totally blessed me, and it was just like in the time that I would not expect to be
Right,
blessed
I
like
could
that. So.
see how much it had blessed him, and I thought, wow, what else can I do? This is awesome. So as he was busy eating at the kitchen island, I got this big idea with all kinds of energy. I rounded the island on my way to execute my idea. I said, I'm going to go get all your laundry done right now. And I was so proud of myself. And as I rounded that island on my way to the laundry room, this is the reaction Les gave me.
That's not what I
Right.
did, but go ahead with your story.
So I'm headed back to the laundry room, and I was expecting great joy, and I got this. And I was trying to process that. I was a little surprised. And so I'm heading back there, and I'm starting to get reactive to that. By the time I got to the laundry room, I was mad. And I was saying to myself, what am I doing his laundry for? Why did he give me that sarcastic clap? He should be doing my laundry right now. I worked as hard as him, and I was, you know how you can do manual labor when you're angry? And I had lots of energy back there. But also I was tired, and pretty soon, as happens to me, maybe women understand, the tears started to roll. And I mean, I had a breakdown back there. So by the time I got everything rolling and kind of pulled myself together, I headed back out. You were just finishing that beautiful breakfast.
Yeah, she came out, and I could immediately tell she'd been crying. Guys, you can tell when your woman's been crying, right? And I said, hey, what's wrong? And she said, nothing. I said, well, it looks like you've been crying. She said, well, I have. I said, well, what happened back there? She said, well, when I left, you gave me that sarcastic clap. I said, I didn't give you a sarcastic clap. She said, yes, you did. You clapped like this. I said, I don't clap like that. She said, why did you do that? I said, you were moving so quickly, I could not believe that you had energy to go do our laundry, and I was so appreciative. My mouth was filled with oatmeal, and you were moving so quickly. I wanted you to know how much I appreciate it. I couldn't speak because my mouth was full, so I applauded you as you were leaving the room. She said, well, it came off as sarcastic. So then we proceeded to have a discussion on apparently how I don't clap right.
That's right.
That's a dumb fight, right? Because truthfully, I was filled with appreciation and love, and she was loving me and blessing me, and here we were, and now we were having a fight about that, right? How in the world? Why? Why would we? That's a dumb fight. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you 30 seconds just to kind of get your brain engaged this morning and see if the two of you can identify a dumb fight. Not just a fight, but a really dumb fight. Like, really, why are we fighting about this, all right? I'm going to give you like 20 seconds to do that. So give me some, make sure my sound is going on my laptop. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Did you identify? I would love to. Anybody willing to share a dumb fight with just the few people that are in this room? Just us here.
Look at that hand.
Stand up and say it really loud so I can hear you, will you? I'm going to repeat it back for you. You have a 2-year-old. And he loves oatmeal. He's one of my kindred spirits. All right. They have toddler oatmeal. Yes, this isn't a commercial for Quaker, but I get it. Yeah, right. Behind your back, your husband was giving him the regular oatmeal. That dirty dog. Sneaking him the good stuff. You've had multiple talks about the oatmeal. 2 days ago, you look and he's peeking over and
so I come around and he's got the strawberry oatmeal and he's been fighting. I said, that's too much.
and he's sneaking the strawberry oatmeal, and that's too much what?
Sugar.
Too much sugar. Oh, okay.
He drops the box and compares. He's like, it's only 2 extra grams of sugar.
It's only 2 extra grams of sugar. Let's talk more about this oatmeal because we're just getting to this thing. I mean, there's a lot to say about oatmeal. Wow. So what's the solution for the two of you? He gave him the right oatmeal. One for you. Right. There you go. All right.
Priceless.
What's that? She says, I'll be watching him, yes. Well, we all have dumb fights,
Yes.
right? And we had, have you ever noticed this? That sometimes your dumbest fights happened in the most romantic times. We had this happen not very long ago,
and
right?
that's what can actually make a fight a really dumb fight, when it interrupts what otherwise would have been one of your best moments that you could possibly share as a couple. And we had this happen. We've been invited to speak at a conference in London, England, which was a wonderful invitation.
Yeah.
We were honored to
I remember when that invite came in, and they called and said, would you come over to London and speak? And so I went into Leslie, and she was in the kitchen. I said, hey, we just got an invite to speak in London, England. I said, do you need to pray about this? Because I don't. Let's go, right?
Here was the beautiful thing. It was perfectly timed to end on the weekend of our anniversary. How grace-filled is that? So now we finished our work. We're in this beautiful city, and we have an epic anniversary weekend. Just the two of us, 48 hours, no kids, no work, just us. Amazing. And we're doing everything, all the iconic sites. We had the absolute romantic high tea anniversary experience that I know Les had on his bucket list for years before that, because
What?
you loved the high tea.
What's wrong with you?
Everything about it was so romantic, and we were having a great time. And then
Yeah, and then something happened. So we were standing on this bridge. Look at this picture. I mean, could we be, this is like the most romantic city in the world, it felt like, at least that evening, and we were just enjoying ourselves. And this was one for the record books. Kids home with mom and
totally.
dad, with the grandparents. And so here we are with no schedule, just enjoy. We just had a lovely meal. And so I said, let's walk around the evening. I know it's like 10 o'clock at night, but let's walk around the city one more time. And so we're walking across the bridge. You can see Parliament back there and Big Ben. And a fellow tourist walks by. Hey, can I take your picture? And sure enough, handed us the camera back. And you wouldn't think of it, looking at that picture, you wouldn't think that within less than 5 seconds after this picture was taken, that couple could be embroiled in conflict. But that's exactly what happened, because he gave me the camera back, and Leslie said, hey, we never did get those sweatshirts. And I said, what sweatshirts? She said, what sweatshirts? The ones I've been talking about for the last 3 days, the sweatshirts for the boys. I said, oh, yes. Yes, of course, the sweatshirts.
That's right.
And she said, maybe that shop is still open. Let's go see if it's open late for tourists. We went down there. Sure enough, it was open. And so Leslie's shopping around a little bit for the sweatshirts. I'm standing by the cash register. I'm looking at my phone or a map or something. Leslie comes in a moment or two. She comes back with 2 sweatshirts. She says, what do you think about these 2? I'm wondering if we should get them matching or different colors for the boys. And I said, hey, I was thinking about this. Do the boys even really need sweatshirts right now? She said, yes, they need sweatshirts. She said, that's what I've been talking about. They wear them every day to school. They're going to love having sweatshirts from London. I said, all right. She said, these aren't the right ones anyway. And she went back, did a little more shopping, came back a moment later. She said, hey, what do you think about this? 2 red sweatshirts. I'm just wondering like this, but do they need hoods or not? And I said, hey, I was thinking about this also. We did carry-on luggage. And I don't even know if we're going to have room in our carry-on for 2 big fluffy sweatshirts. She said, do you have a problem with the sweatshirts? I said, no, I don't have a problem with the sweatshirts, just trying to be helpful. She said, well, it's not coming off as very helpful. And she said, I'm going to get a different color anyway. And so she goes, 3rd time she comes back to me. She says, this is it. I want these 2 sweatshirts for the boys. I said, all right, let's get them. I reached down, I grabbed the sleeve of one of them, pulled it up to look at the price tag, and I just said, good night. I said, look at how expensive these things are. She didn't say anything to me at this point. She just took the 2 sweatshirts, threw them at me, and by the way, they had hangers in them still, so it's dangerous. And then she just walked out of the store. And the guy at the cash register looks at me like, I said, I know, what did I say, right? And so I hand off the sweatshirts to him. I walk out the store thinking she's waiting for me just outside, but she's nowhere to be found. I look down the street. She's like way down the street. So now I'm hustling to catch up with her, and I'm like 5 paces behind her. And I said, hey, why are you walking so fast? She said something back to me that only a marriage and family therapist says to her husband. She said, you remember what you said?
Oh, yeah.
She said, angry energy. Yeah, I thought it was funny too. But I didn't laugh out loud because I'm not an idiot. And so she's waiting at the curb for the light to change, and so I finally catch up with her, and we're both standing there waiting for the light, not looking at each other, just straight ahead, but you could kind of feel the icy tension between. Have you ever been there before? It's just palpable, you could feel the icy tension, and should I say something? I kind of look at her out of the corner of my eye. I'm thinking, I shouldn't say anything right now, I don't think. And the light changes, we walk, and we walked a couple blocks, and still icy tension. And then in an attempt to kind of thaw the ice, we walk by this building, and on the side of it, there's this placard, and it says Churchill's War Rooms. And Leslie, in an attempt to kind of thaw the ice, she said, well, maybe we need to stop in there. And have you ever been in this situation where you're so eager to repair it, like you overreact? And I did one of those, that's hilarious. And he's just like, it's not that funny, relax, And so we weren't on the same page yet, and we walked another couple blocks waiting for the light to change, and I thought, I'm going to risk it right now. And so I just reached down, and I just grabbed her hand, and I gave her 3 squeezes. That's our little signal, like, hey, we okay? And I know we're okay if she gives me the 3 squeezes back, and so we stood there until I got the squeezes back, maybe for 45 minutes or so. And,
So wrong.
and no, I got the squeezes back right away. And I tell you this to let you know that in years gone by, it wouldn't be that way.
Right.
In years gone by, that icy tension would have followed us, maybe even onto the airplane the next day over sweatshirts? Are you kidding me, right? That's a dumb fight.
Right.
But instead, we turned it around just that quickly. And by the way, what do you think we were doing less than 5 minutes after that? Yeah, we were getting ripped off at that sweatshirt shop, so, right? But the question remains, why? Why in the world would we have a fight about sweatshirts on truly one of the most romantic weekends of our married life
baffling.
together? Why would we do that? So many of our conflicts come down to a single word, and that word is perception. If you're taking notes, write it down. Perception. So many of our conflicts are due to this. Misperceptions and perception. Let me illustrate this a little bit. Let me put something on the screen here. You can plainly see that this is a picture of two dogs. Everybody sees the 2 dogs. Now, if you're from our city where we live, Seattle, Washington, you might see something in between the 2 dogs. Do you see it? The Space Needle. You all see the Space Needle? How many of you see the Space Needle and the 2 dogs at the exact same time? Okay? Actually, you do not. Because it is literally impossible. You can flicker back and forth in a millisecond, but one has to be the figure and one has to be the ground, and you can go back and forth real quick, but you literally cannot see them both at the exact same time. And how many times does that happen in a relationship, right?
And that's just because of how our brains are hardwired, but often we have this overconfidence when we get in an argument with our spouse that we not only see our side accurately, but simultaneously we get what they're trying to say. They don't even need to tell us.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time. I get it.
And so we'll say things like, just stop talking, I get it, okay?
Yeah.
Would you just stop talking? I understand what you're saying, right? Well, do you really?
Right.
Here's another one. This is actually a photograph, and if you've seen it before, you know immediately what it is. Have you seen it before? Holler it out if you know what this picture is. Okay, I'm going to tell you, it's a picture of a dog. And if you're looking very carefully, you will see that dog. It's a Dalmatian dog. This is an actual photograph. His nose is right in the center of the screen. How many see the dog right now? Okay, help the people around you real quick. Help them see that dog. His body goes off to the right side of the screen. How many still do not see the dog? Raise your hand if you still do not. Oh,
yeah.
Quite a few of you.
Yeah.
All right. So let me show you where the dog is. Actually, just so you know, this is an image that is used in a pretty sophisticated IQ test to determine whether or not no, I'm just kidding you. This has nothing to do with smarts, okay? I promise you that. But if you just keep looking up there, you'll see this dog. I'm going to turn him blue, and there he is, right there. Ah. You hear that sound? That's the sound of insight. Oh.
That's right.
Oh, I see it now, right? And that's a beautiful sound in a marriage. That's a beautiful sound between a husband and a wife. Oh, I didn't know you were going through that. Oh, if I'd known.
Right.
Right? perception.
It's everything. And when you're in life together and in a conflict, so often you feel unloved because it seems like your spouse doesn't see you. Like if
Right.
they really were looking, you can't look and miss me. And yet, until you perceived it, it's invisible.
Right. It all comes down to perception. It's a huge reason behind why we have so many fights in marriage or why we have any fights in marriage. Now, this isn't just armchair
Right.
psychology. We know this from research. In fact, not too far from here,
That's
little
right.
university named Baylor. You ever heard of Baylor University? Any grads here? Wow, not any Baylor grads in here. All right.
At least they're not proud right now.
Yeah, I'll speak slowly. But no, I'm just kidding you.
Yeah.
Whoa, they turned on us.
No, but you're right. There was a landmark study done at Baylor on the power of perception when it comes to conflict for married couples. Here's what they discovered. In the midst of a conversation, there are two negative perceptions. When they happen, conflict always erupts. The first is perceived threat, and the second is perceived neglect. Well, what do we mean by that? Threat is that moment you're having a conversation, suddenly you feel like, wow, you just got critical of me, or I feel like you're being controlling right now, or demanding something that's just way too much. That's what threat is. Neglect is more this moment where you just have this dawning reality, wow, we're talking about, I'm feeling like you don't really care about me right now. Like it seems like you're not considering my needs or prioritizing me, or you're so distracted, you're not even really aware of me right now. I feel neglected.
Yeah, you can write it down. Every conflict we have is the result of perceived threat or perceived neglect. And this was a study involving how many couples?
Over 3,500 married couples all along the spectrum.
Right, massive study. This wasn't just a little side project.
Right.
Huge. Every conflict we have is a result of one of these two reasons, or sometimes the combination
Yes.
of both of these reasons. Now, it can sound a little daunting, like perceived threat, like, wow, that sounds intense, right? But it's more common than you might guess. In fact, let me illustrate this a little bit. I'm in a small group that I have been in more than 9 years. I think we just finished our 9th year together. 7 other guys. We meet every other Tuesday for lunch for 2 hours. We call it the 5% Club. And these are all busy, hard-charging business guys, and yet we carve out this time. We call it the 5% Club because it's devoted to talking about the 5% of our life that we don't necessarily broadcast to everybody else, all right? It can be the top 5% or the bottom 5%, but it's a safe place. We only have 2 rules. Number 1 is that we never, ever give advice. Unless somebody asks for it, we never give anybody in that room advice. And number 2 is that what we talk about in that room stays in that room. Complete confidentiality. It's the only way to have that kind of security and safety. And so we never talk about what happens in there. A few months ago, John mentioned something in that group, and I just have to tell you about it. Because he gave me special permission. I asked him and I asked his wife Lila if I could tell this story, because when he told it, I said, that is a perfect illustration of this perceived threat.
Right.
It was a Saturday, and they're doing a little redecorating in their home, and they're in their master bedroom, and they have this big kind of painting that they want to put above their headboard. And it's this big, kind of unwieldy thing to kind of manage, and you know what that's like. And so Lila, this slight little woman, is standing. She's kind of on the pillows right by the headboard, and she's trying to hold this thing. And John is at the foot of the bed, and he's directing her, and he's going, Lila, no, a little bit lower. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, but more to the right. Well, I'm trying, John, but it's not easy. This thing's pretty heavy. I know, but if you'll just do it for a second, I'll come up there and I'll mark it, and then we'll be. I know, but it's I can't do this. It's too heavy. Lila, just for another second, hold it up there, a little higher. That's it. Nope, that's too high, right? You ever been there? And she says, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And he says, I got an idea. He said, why don't you just step over onto the nightstand? He said, it won't be as, get off those pillows, be more stable. Step onto the nightstand, and then you can just kind of lean in and brace your body up against the wall and hold it up there. And she said, and she's really frustrated right now. She said, well, there's no room on your nightstand. And he said, honey, what are you talking about? There's 3 books and a lamp. And this is the next thing she said. She said, well, I hate your books. And then she kicked him off of the nightstand. Now, if you knew Lila, you would go, this does not compute. She's the sweetest woman.
Yeah.
On top of that, they love reading. Both
Yeah,
of them
I mean, that's one of her favorite things
Yes.
about John.
Right.
Yes.
And yet she was so, perceived threat. She was feeling so threatened. He was being demanding, she
Yeah.
felt, and controlling and all the
And you
rest.
can't help but react, right? Emotionally, when you feel threatened, she didn't have her hands, so she had to kick. That's all she had left. But when it comes to neglect, what do we mean by that? Well, honestly, I can't think of a better example than the 2 hoodie sweatshirts that we needed to bring home from London. And I'll tell you why, because actually every mom in here gets it. When you've been away from your kids, you want to bring home a symbol that you loved and missed them, and so you get that. But honestly, it wasn't even about that. It was that the best part of that epic weekend with Les was that we had 48 hours of uninterrupted time together, and I had been feeling so heard and listened to and loved in that. And then we got to the end of that time, and I had told him maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 times how important it was to me to get those sweatshirts. And when it came to the end, and he acted like he'd never even heard me say that, well, I felt neglect, right? Women, you get it. That's what all that angry energy was about. Neglect.
Now I know that.
Yes, you do.
That's why we bought the sweatshirt.
I know.
So perception, that's a big one, right? We have so much conflict because of misperception and buying into our own view of it. But that's not the only reason. There's another one that certainly is important, and that has to do with just our personalities.
Yeah, just how we're
unique-
hardwired.
How God designed each one of us to manage conflict. Because the way you manage conflict and cope with conflict may be
Right.
different than the way your spouse does. We can help you kind of identify what we call your fight type pretty quickly by answering 2 questions. And the first one has to do with how expressive you are. Some of us are highly expressive, some of us not so much.
Yeah, for some of us, when we have a problem, the first thing we need to do is process it, talk about it, get it out. And so we're expressive. Others of us, the second we have a problem, we take a step back. We hold it closely and we want to mull it over and get inner clarity. And after we've gone through the reflective process, we may tell you or we may never need to. We just thought about it inside, and that was good.
Right, all right, so expressiveness. And then the other one has to do with flexibility.
Right.
How flexible we are just in our kind of our attitude and our spirit about things. Some of us are very opinionated on certain issues. We know how we want something done, and so we're kind of inflexible
Yeah.
because we think, oh, I know how that should be done, and you're not doing it the right way.
That's right. If you care about something, there's a best way, and you're going to be ferocious about defending the best way.
Right.
Others of us, we could care deeply about something, but we could see, wow, you could do that many different ways. Sure, let's adapt. Let's try it a new way.
Right.
It's just in our DNA.
You ask somebody that's high on flexibility, hey, where do you want to go for dinner tonight? What do they tell you? Well, wherever you want to go, that's good with me. Right? I'll go anywhere. Not to that one place, but any other place, I'll go to that one place, right? It's pretty flexible. You ask somebody that's low on flexibility, where do you want to go for dinner tonight? Seafood, get in the car, let's go. Right? They got an opinion on it. So as you can tell, this gives us 4 different
Right.
groups of people. Some people are low on flexibility and high on expressiveness and so forth going around. In fact, how many would say, even in hearing you talk about this, Les, I would say, yeah, my home is probably high on expressiveness because if I have a problem, I don't mind talking about it. And secondly, I'm kind of low on flexibility. I'm pretty opinionated on certain things that really matter to me. How many would say, yep, that's probably me? Raise your hands.
Yep.
All right? So we call you folks competitive fighters.
That's right.
Competitive fighters. And I should know because this is my quadrant as well. I'm a competitive fighter, right?
Yes,
So
that is right.
low on flexibility, high on express. You don't have to, these people don't tiptoe around on eggshells. You know, you're going to know if something's bothering them, they're going to tell you.
And
right?
often something is because they're not that flexible. So
Right.
they're going to
Right.
defend it, and they don't worry about conflict. Let's bring it on.
And so we're ready for a fight. You got a problem? Let's go, right?
yeah.
and so, but it's also interesting because these people are quick to get over fights most
Yeah.
of the time too. It's like let's get that behind
Yeah.
us so we can move on, but they don't mind talking about it. And like I said, this is my quadrant. I have not done the research on this particular aspect of it yet, but just as a psychologist, I would tell you that probably these are the people, the competitive fighters, are the people you'll find are probably have the highest IQs. They're the nicest people to be around. These are. Not at all, actually. Sorry to say it. We might feel like our quadrant is the best.
Yes.
This is descriptive, not prescriptive.
Right.
One of these is not necessarily better than the other. It has to do, like Leslie said, with our hardwiring,
Yes.
how God made us. Now,
Right.
how about people that are high on expressiveness and high on flexibility? Raise your hand if you think that might be your home.
Yep.
All right? So we call you folks.
Yeah, these are collaborators because we do want to process everything and talk about our feelings, want to have that engaged moment. But the second that moment turns into conflict, we're more likely to be flexible and get collaborative and try to work our way around the conflict.
Right, and so pretty easy to live with because, yeah, they can kind of put it out there, but they're not looking for a fight
No,
necessarily.
but we are looking to talk.
Right, absolutely, all right? And then we have people that are low on expressiveness, just the opposite, but still high on flexibility. How many think, yeah, that might be me? Okay? And we call you folks conciliatory fighters. Conciliatory.
Yeah, now these people, fighter doesn't even really fit for you if you're in this, because you'd rather be flexible than ever hold on to something, but you also don't feel the need to process everything.
Right, and
so
so-
you don't have fights. Fighting is, your growing edge is actually to really be honest and authentic in the moment when you deeply do actually care about something and shouldn't flex on that issue.
Right, and so fighter is kind of a misnomer. They're just conciliatory, right? And then finally, we have people that are low on flexibility and low on expressiveness. How many say that's me? All right?
Yeah.
And we call you folks cautious fighters.
Right.
Cautious fighters.
And I love being around cautious fighters. There is a brilliance in action when they get into conflict because let me just tell you, cautious fighters do not have a fight until they are fully armed and ready for that conversation. They have prepared. They have thought it through from every angle. They have examples and recommendations and supporting documents.
Right. These are, I got a witness right there, okay. Yeah, it's a little bit like being married to an attorney if you're married to this person, because they will even give you a verbatim. I mean, they can come in and they can say, did you not sit in that very chair on Tuesday night and tell me that blah, 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 right? So we all have our different ways of managing conflict. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to give you like 20 seconds, just the two of you. If you have some background music for us back there, that'd be great. But just 20 seconds to identify your fight type with the two of you together. Go to it. Talk about it for 20 seconds. We'll come right back together.
Are we out of time?
7 minutes.
Okay. What are we going to do?
We got to hustle. All right. All right. How many had a fight about which one you are? Right. We're going to help you here in just a second, I promise you. So let's do, I want to find out something. How many are married to the same type, like you have the same fight type? Raise your hands.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
How many are like both competitive fighters? Raise your hands if you're both competitive
yeah.
fighters. Oh, wow. We ought to stop and have prayer meeting for these couples right now. How about two conciliatories married together?
Any couples like that?
Raise your hand. So you guys are raising your hand
Right
back
here in
there.
the front row.
Both two conciliatories. When was the last fight the two of you had?
Never.
Can't remember. Why are you here? Right. You know, it used to frustrate me so much when we'd talk about conflict, and I'd always have a couple come up and say, we've been married for 40 years and we've never had a fight. And I just wanted to punch them in the jaw. And I would get so like, come on, you know? And it wasn't until we did this research for this book, The Good Fight, that we understood
Right.
that's really the case.
Yeah, it's-
There's some couples that just don't fight.
It's their fight type.
Because they're too conciliatories, right? How about a competitive married to a conciliatory?
Oh, yeah.
How many marriages do we have like that?
Oh, yeah, look at that. I love the stories that couples in your situation give us because the poor conciliatory is always saying, my spouse follows me around the house and I'm trying to hide and I'm finally, I'm leaving the room and they're following me and finally I get in the bathroom and slam the door and they just wait on the other side,
That man's giving us a standing ovation for some reason. We touched a nerve in that home. Yeah, and so that competitive stands outside
Yeah.
the bathroom. You got to come out of there someday, right? So we have fights because of perception. We have fights because of just our fight type.
Right.
What do we do about it? Let's get into round 2 on how to fight a good fight. And we're going to, in the interest of time, now I was kind of looking at the clock last night. Both speakers went overtime. Did you notice that?
We're about to have a competitive fight.
Yeah. How are we doing? Can we go like a couple of minutes extra? Are you sure? Okay. So Gary doesn't mind. We'll just eat into his time a little bit. Doesn't matter. I am going to skip ahead. In fact, I think what I want to do is just go straight to one takeaway
it.
that I
really-
think will be the most
yeah.
important for so many of you here. If you're interested in this conflict card, you can find that on our website. You can download it for free. It'll explain how to use it. Also, the XYZ formula that I'm breezing through right here. We didn't manage our time so well. So this is just a way to phrase something in a way that it'll be heard. But here's what I want to get to. A little exercise that we call sharing with holds.
Right.
Sharing with holds. And for so many of you, this is going to be something that you'll take away from our time that really will be a pivot point in your marriage.
Right.
I promise you this because we've taught it to so many couples we know. Every day in every marriage, there's information that we withhold from one another.
Right.
Not because we're secretive or private, it's just that we're traveling at the speed of life. We don't get to share everything that pops into our head. And so we have positive withholds, we have negative withholds.
Yeah, I mean, the other day, something happened that became a positive withhold for me because I happened to walk in the room right as Les was having a conversation with our son who's getting ready to go to college, and I just happened to overhear it, but it was absolutely precious, and it was a parenting issue I'd been praying about earlier that day, had no idea how to address. I walk in, and there is Les just doing it, like the best father ever, but I wasn't going to say anything in front of our son, right, because I don't want to make him uncomfortable or take away from that, and I just thought, I admire that so much, wow, and I'll never forget to tell him that, but of course, the day got busy, and time went on, and I completely forgot.
So it was a positive withhold. It was like a compliment that registered in your mind about me, but you
Yes.
didn't share it with me just because.
Totally.
Right, okay? And I'm guessing that happens a lot. So, all the time, right?
Endlessly,
Yeah.
yes.
The truth is, it does happen a lot for her and for me
Yeah.
and for the two of you.
Right.
There's positive things that register in our mind about our partner that we never do share with each other just because of life
Yeah, I mean, it
circumstances.
just happens.
Right? And then we have negative withholds.
Oh, yeah.
Negative withholds. Maybe we're out to dinner with friends and we're having a good time and everybody's laughing and joking around the table and so forth. I say something I think is pretty funny. Everybody seems to laugh. And then Leslie's kind of laughing, but then she thinks to herself, wait a second, was that kind of a jab? Was he sending me a message there? Was that a little bit of a jab, you know? And she's not going to confront me there in front of our friends. That'd be embarrassing. So she's going to wait till we get home. Well, it's midnight. She's thinking, oh, I don't want to bring this up and stir something up right now. I'll wait and talk to him about it in the morning. In the morning, I'm off to work or she's off to work, whatever. And by the time we reconnect at the end of the next day, that negative feeling has just kind of been buried, right? And what happens to negative feelings that we bury? Exactly. They have a high rate of resurrection.
Yeah.
Okay? And we go, whoa, where did that come from, right? And you ever felt like you stepped on a landmine in your marriage?
Right.
And it's just like, wow, that is way over the board and
Right.
emotional for what just happened here.
Yeah.
It's because something is wounded down there. You just stepped on a wound, right? And so this little exercise, sharing withholds, allows you to kind of take the landmines out of your marriage
Right.
and get to hear some of these positive withholds
Amazing.
that you've been missing out on. Here's how it goes. One of us will just simply say, hey, would you like to share withholds?
Yeah.
If the other person agrees, we get out a little piece of scratch paper and we write down 3 withholds, 2 positive and 1 negative. And these have all happened within the last 48 hours.
Yeah,
We're
they're,
not
they're current. That's really important. Really
we're
current
not
stuff.
dredging stuff up, and it's not like in 2009 you did this, right? It's not that kind of stuff. It's current stuff, the last
Yeah.
48 hours. And even think right now. Sometimes when you say, hey, do you want to share withholds?
You get a blank look
I'll
on your
go,
face.
we've talked about everything. And then give me like 3 minutes and a little piece of scratch paper, and then I realize after a couple minutes, I have to limit it to just 3, okay?
Right.
Because it just takes a little while for the
Yeah.
wheels to turn. Think right now, what's a positive withhold that you haven't shared with your spouse in the last 48 hours, right? It takes a little while for that to kind of kick in.
Right.
All right? But once both of us have agreed to do this, should we demonstrate this a little
Sure,
bit? If
yeah.
we've both written down our 3 withholds, then we would simply share these withholds. Do you want me to do this or you want to do it?
I can
All right.
share. Actually, I haven't had a chance to tell you this because yesterday was such a hectic travel day, and I couldn't believe it. I woke up feeling pressured with everything I had to do to get us out of the house and the boys set, and I walked into the kitchen, which had been a mess, and I realized you had actually loaded the dishwasher, wiped down the counters, and it was all set for us to actually leave, and it was in great shape, and I didn't have a chance to let you know that.
Okay. All right, so in this exercise, by the way, I just got to tell you, that didn't happen. I'm getting the message loud and clear up here. Sometimes Leslie does her own little seminar right here. Nicely played. Yeah. But very good. If it had happened, I would simply respond with 2 words, and those 2 words are, thank you.
Yeah,
All right?
just receive it.
Right. I received it, yeah. In other words, thank you for sharing the information. That's all this is, okay? All right, and then she would share a negative withhold. But do you really need to at this point?
Well, you're not going to be surprised by this, I don't think at all, because it's happened
Well,
before.
I was on the last one, so
It's happened before, and it happened again just recently. You literally took our Visa bill, and you had taken the time with a red Sharpie to go through and circle every one of my Starbucks charges for the month. And then you put it on my desk, and at the top, you had written a giant question mark and the word really.
yeah.
So I woke up early, came out for my coffee, and there was this waiting for me. And I sat down with it, and I was like, why is this happening again? He knows how I feel about this. And I looked at it, and I went through every charge, and every one of them was so legit. I was there with my college girls I mentor. I was writing. I took the kids. I had my mom and aunt. I went down the list. They were actually ministry moments.
Okay. First of all, this did happen. How convenient. And in this exercise, I simply respond with 2 words, and the 2 words are, not I'm sorry, because I may not be sorry yet, right? The 2 words are, thank you,
Yeah.
right? In other words, thank you for sharing the information. That's all this is an exercise in
Right.
sharing the information.
Yeah, just being
all right?
heard.
And so just thank you. Now, then she would share another positive withhold. Thank goodness we don't have time for this right now. But she would share another positive withhold. And then it would be my turn to share my 3 withholds, okay? Now, one of the things we've learned through the years of doing this, the person that goes second needs to stick with their 3 original withholds.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand, right? Then I would share my 3 withholds. She would say, thank you after you. And then here's the real caveat for this whole thing that's really important. For the next 30 minutes, for the next half hour, those negative withholds are off limits.
Right.
For the next half hour, we don't talk about those. Now, it's not like we, sit there for 30 minutes and, all right, 10 more minutes, you're going to get it, We just go on with life, okay? And the vast majority, 90% of the time, we don't even come back to them.
And that's so true. It was
just
enough to be heard.
Exactly.
But
right?
when we do come back, that conversation is a totally different experience than
Right.
it would have been when it was fresh and we were feeling
Because it creates
defensive.
a soft onset. You go
Right.
from reacting to responding. A little
Right.
sanity seeps down into the cortex of your brain, and maybe the Holy Spirit begins to work through you, and you
Right.
begin to be able to process this. And we heard that from our speakers last night, too, and we avoid that crazy cycle and all the rest. It's a practical thing that you can do. Let me do this real quick as we wrap this up. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds, just as a couple. I primed the pump there a little bit. 30 seconds to identify one positive withhold and just share that with each other. Don't do the whole exercise, just one positive withhold. You got 30 seconds. Go to it, and we're going to come right back and close this thing out. Give us a little music if you have it. Another 10 seconds. All right. I know I'm interrupting most of you. How many of you are upset because your spouse couldn't think of anything positive to say in the last 48 hours?
Yeah, that's right.
Just give them a little time. That's all they need. Can you see how this can work? I'm telling you, we often tell newlyweds, choose your ruts carefully because you're going to be in them for a long time. This is a way to carve a new groove
Right.
into your relationship, no matter how long you have been married. So, and you can do this with kids, by the way. One mom said, you better tell them what happened at our house if you ever suggest that. She said, we shared the rules around the kitchen table and said, so does anybody have a withhold? And their 15-year-old said, yeah, I got a withhold. They said, great, let's hear it. He said, the other day I was in my algebra class and we were having like a quiz thing, I guess, and I don't know, I was like caught cheating on it or something. And so I got sent out of the room. I had to go down to the principal's office. She gave me this letter thing, I guess, you guys have to sign. So I get back in the classroom, and I knew you'd totally freak if I gave that to you. And so anyway, for the last 3 days, I've been in the detention center during that class period. And basically, I just want you guys to know that that's my withhold. And mom and dad say, thank you. 30 minutes, pal. 30 minutes. It really does work. We use it with our kids,
Yeah.
and it is a fantastic exercise. Hey, as I wrap this up, let me just tell you about some resources, because I know some of you might want to drill down a little bit deeper on this stuff, and you saw there was a little app that comes with this book, The Good Fight, and so if you're interested, it's the only way. We built a platform for this app. It's more extensive than the book, and so if you're looking for it on the App Store, you won't find it. It runs on its own platform, and it's really incredible, and it'll help you
Yeah.
with those withholds as well as
Yeah.
a lot of other things, but that's what this book is. And then this book, Crazy Good Sex. I never intended to write a book on sex like this, but my publisher encouraged me and finally convinced me to do it. When it first came out, I was preaching at a church in Phoenix, Arizona, and the books were supposed to arrive for the very first time. I hadn't seen them, and they got there just in the nick of time. I'm in the green room with the pastor and 7 or 8 other people, and my mom, 83 years of age at the time, was in the room. And my assistant came in and said, hey, your new book got here just in time. My mom said, oh, honey, you have a new book? And I said, yeah. Yeah, I do, Mom. She said, well, you usually tell me about the books you're working on. I said, yeah, I forgot. And she said, well, let me see it. And so I handed her the book, and 83 years of age, this is what she said. She got the book, she looked at it, and she just went, oh, honey. She started to open it up, and she closed it and handed it back to me. She said, just tell me you didn't dedicate this one to me. So we provide these two books as a bundle out there. And by the way, if you happen to pick up any resources by us, you can feel good about it, because if there's any margin, any profit to be made, all of it goes to needy children. They both live with us in Seattle. And getting applause on that. And then we have one other resource, and I just got to take an extra minute to do this, and then I'm going to get off this stage, but I'm so excited to tell you about this new tool. I'm sure some of you are familiar with eHarmony. I'm sure there's some eHarmony couples in here. When Neil Warren started that company, it was an idea around a kitchen table in Pasadena, where we happened to be having dinner together with them that night, and worked on that company for 10 years. I told Neil, I said, if that ever gets successful, by the way, if you're wondering, it did. And if it ever gets successful, I said, I want to build something for couples that are already married that creates some magic for them. And so we just released this less than a year ago. It's called the Deep Love Assessment. Take a quick look at this 25-second video, and then I'm going to tell you about it.
Do you want the very best for your relationship? Do you want to go beneath the surface of what matters most? Then join Drs. Les and Leslie Perry, renowned psychologists, marriage and family therapists, and #1 New York Times bestselling authors on a journey to deep love. It all begins when you answer just a few questions with the Deep Love Assessment. It's easier than you think, and did we mention it's fun? We'll give you a personalized action plan, customized for the two of you. You've never experienced anything quite like this before. Enjoy deeper conversations, deeper intimacy, and deeper passion starting today. It all begins when you take the Deep Love Assessment. Visit deeploveassessment.com.
All right, so here's the deal. You can go online, and in a matter of a few moments, the two of you answer a few questions, and it generates this customized roadmap, a little 10-page report for just the two of you. And I'm telling you, it is customized. There's no guilt, there's no finger pointing, no shame. It's all upbeat, positive stuff to help you accomplish the goals that you two are invested in, and that's enjoying life together to the fullest. And so if you're interested in doing this, go ahead and put that back up on the screen for me. It's this little card that you can get, and we're doing it here at the event for $30, and you'll have to ask them at the table, because it's just this. It's not a book, so you have to ask them about this, and you can pick up this little card, scratch off the code on there. It's unique to that card, and you're on your way to do that. So come back on up here and give us some direction. You guys, what a privilege to be here with you today.
That's right.
I can't say thanks enough. And we'll see you down Life's Road. Come on up.
Give them another hand. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you.
Before we get off the stage, they aren't giving me any sound. Forget
No,
it.
you got it.
Before I get off the stage, the timing is everything, but your wife wanted me to give you this book. It's crazy good sex, so there you go.
Thanks, honey. And Dad, don't worry, I'll share it with you. Okay. Sorry, it's early in the morning. I've only had one cup of coffee. Hey, as you could probably tell, they have so many resources, and I'll never forget something that God placed deep inside of Ashley and I whenever we were kind of going through some challenges. God asked me a question just deep down, not audibly. He said, are you willing to do whatever it takes to have the marriage that you've always hoped and dreamed of? And that was a aha moment for me. And I realized that, you know what, you coming here today, I can already tell that you're willing to do whatever it takes to have the marriage that God's always intended for you and your spouse. And so give yourself a hand clap for being here. Incredible. But I want to encourage you, take a look at the resources. They're out in the lobbies, but also go to their websites. Every speaker that's been up here, they're highlighting a resource, but they have so many more resources. The Deep Love that Drs. Les and Leslie talked to you about, Ashley and I have taken that, and it's phenomenal. If you guys have been married for any length of time, we encourage you to take it. It is so great, and I know they've worked really hard on it, and they're seeing the results come from that. One last thing before we bring up our next speaker is don't forget to text the word SPARK to 77377 on your cell phones. That way you can stay in touch with everything that we're doing here. The next time we open up registration for next year's Spark, which will be soon, you'll be one of the first to get a message to let everyone know that you can be a part of next year's Spark, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later.